of Lincoln on O Street. Check out the full schedule at eagleraceway.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Play ball!
Pitch the perfect idea for a family outing or date night with tickets to the next Salt Dogs game. Nothing says summer fun like an action-packed evening at Haymarket Park. Come root for the home team with a hot dog and a cold drink. Plus, visit saltdogs.com to learn about special events and promotions, including group discounts. Don't miss out on the thrill and excitement of a Salt Dogs win. Visit saltdogs.com to reserve your tickets today.
Hey guys, you have heard about the Farrell's 10-week challenge for years on the ticket. If you still haven't joined us for this amazing challenge, what are you waiting for? You could be our next $1,000 winner like Derek, who just lost 30 pounds, 23 inches, and 8% body fat. Derek changed his life in the 10-week challenge, and so can you. Farrell's combines kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching to get you the results you have been waiting for. Join us July 12th for the Summer 10-Week Challenge. Go to fxblincoln.com to enroll today.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more. 93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Lights out? Let LES know where to go. Powerline matches your phone number to your service address so LES can respond to outages faster. Keep your information up to date at les.com/powerline.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up, Jay Foreman? Old School. We are brought to you by the Mercado, Certified Piedmontese, Special Ingredients Butcher Shop, 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, 85th and Andremat, 100 in Old Cheney, 168th and Maple up there in the O. We're Eastrick on the block. Fast 2 hours, great 2 hours. A lot of talk there, a lot of good insight, and some good times as well. It's Hump Day, Wacky Wednesday. Got my man Nick Sainert sitting in once again for Austin Orman. Austin only gets a little bit of kudos because I know where he's going. I hope I gave him some tips. But now to you.
Will he follow them?
Yeah, he will. Unlike
you sure?
you. Now to you. Okay. Now Strick's not here to save you.
Are we ready to do this? Are we going to hash this out?
No, we're going to hash this out. But before we get to that, and first of all, Nick, I hope you guys are listening on the stream or looking on the stream. Why are you shaking your arms out like you're going to do something? Look, if everybody's listening here,
well,
I want to give
only
credit.
Your voice.
I want to give credit where credit is due. Nick has been extremely focused over the last 6 to 9 months, maybe a year,
ever since Indiana game,
where
you and I had a traveling experience.
Yeah, you were horrible, but the last 6 to 9 months, maybe a year, you've been really into fitness. Right?
Okay.
You've been working out, watching what you're eating, and stuff like that, right?
Yep.
And you don't even look right. You slim down. You got your little muscle tone, right?
Okay.
And that brings some confidence, right? Because it should. From the work. The confidence comes from the work that you do when you actually don't want to do it. And so you've been doing it.
Okay.
Okay. But now the confidence has gone too far. Okay. You're setting yourself up for something that's not going to work out well for you. Okay. So this is your fair warning for everybody listening. So all the ticket listeners out there on the text line, please tell Nick he needs to slow down. He has way too much dip on his chip.
Can you explain, just for context? I'm also needing an explanation. What has changed?
What hasn't changed? Your attitude's changed. You went from confident to cocky.
And
I know exactly when it is. You get this look in your face, and it becomes the most punchable face I've ever seen. There's only one other person I want to punch. It's you.
Okay. And who is that?
Well, he spoke yesterday.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. I wonder who spoke yesterday.
And it's a great segue into it.
Let's talk.
And here's the honest. I said what I said. I just felt like for Scott, look, everybody, look, he's had a lot of things. I wouldn't say given to him, but I just think he's his coaching career.
There's been a lot of favorable situations.
It's been fast forwarded a lot. Yeah. And at that time, I'm going to tell you this, and this is the honest to God truth. At that time, former players coaching, you would get the stiff arm more times than not. Right? But when T.O. signs off on you, you kick through that wall, and then you know what? Then he's able to take it other places. He was at Northern Iowa and all that. And look, this isn't about whether he works hard or not. So he worked hard enough to get to where he's at, and he's been successful. He can call plays and all that stuff. But also think where you got to have humility and stuff, and understand that everybody does make mistakes, and you could look back on any decision. It's like, man, I should have done that. And there's times that I was just talking to a friend of mine. It's like, anytime I've made him personally, I was talking to me personally. Anytime I've went through a decision-making process and did it never worked out. And that's recognition, that's humility, but also I made a decision, right? Here's where Scott's really, if he really was like understanding himself or understanding the dynamics of it, what he's telling you, and he won't tell you, which would be hard for anybody to admit to, is deep down, he didn't know if he was man enough for this job. He didn't want to be man enough for just whatever.
Ready for this job. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
From a professional standpoint, or okay. Actually, this is interesting. Not ready from a professional standpoint, or not ready from an emotional standpoint.
Both.
Okay.
Because they both go into each other, and you got to think it's significantly different. I said it yesterday. You can go to Hy-Vee or whatever the grocery store is in Orlando, and you just blend in. Like, dude, you always second, third fiddle to Mickey Mouse, to Minnie. And the Space Mountain and all that stuff. Yeah. And then you got the Orlando, you got a ton of stuff down there. You got a spring training down. Dude, you just could blend in. You can go play golf. You can do whatever. You know what I'm saying? At that time. Yeah. At that time. Now, this is where I think he's really overshot the runway. Things have significantly changed to a broader, bigger spectrum, because he was in the AAC before. Yeah. Now you're in the Big 12. You were part of the greatest season in UCF history, which brought more lights, cameras, and action there. And they've been winning at a pretty good clip since you've been there. You were byproduct of that system or that season. And now you're dealing with something that we've always dealt with here. Yeah. And what's called expectations. Here's the difference between here's my definition of expectations. Expectations is more emotionally based because it varies from 100 people. It could be the same. Nebraska football, UCF football. You ask 100 people what their expectations are. Some people say Nebraska's only going to go 6-6 or 5-7. It's the same old thing. 7-6. That's improvement. Some people say we need to have 11 wins, 10 wins, right? Or that's what they expect. The expectations there is based on the past. The reality is the standard has to be met. And the standard could be met, and it looks different in the wins and losses every year. And if you don't have those things clear and set, like you didn't have here, it could be a little bit rougher thinking you coming back to it. Hey, look, man, everybody went, go back to your high school. You think it's sweet. Sometimes they look at you crazy.
You're also playing in a much harder conference.
Sure.
I mean, the big, like, I'm not trying to sit up here and act like the Big 12 is a world beater, but so I was looking at UCF's schedule this year, or this today. And it's obviously there's a matchup against North Carolina and Bill Belichick that stands out in the non-con. But the conference games, there's a road game against Kansas State. There's matchups against TCU. I mean, like, I want to say Arizona State's on that schedule. there are some tests that it's not Temple. It's not where you only have to worry about Memphis or USF is your third hardest opponent. That's not what this is this year.
Yeah,
and what it's going to be going forward.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get into the AAC championship. I think they might have played SMU and it was like 40 something.
Yeah.
30, or when you get to your USF, where you talk about both games were high 40s, 50s. But more importantly, everybody's talking about North Carolina against Bill Belichick. That's the game that everybody's. Listen, you play Jacksonville State on Thursday on ESPN. If you think Jacksonville State is going to bat an eye going down to Florida, first of all, they almost got old buddy down in Florida State, Norvell, fired. On a walk-off on a Thursday night.
Yeah, that's right.
And last play, and dude ran it. So that's a test. North Carolina, A&T, okay, right? That's a get-right game.
Yep.
And then you got North Carolina. Then immediately after, first of all, here's one thing you know about North Carolina, you assume. They're going to be extremely physical. And the game's going to be coached different, right?
That's where I'm so fascinated just to see how it all unfolds. Like I said in the last hour, not cheering for failure, not cheering for success. I'm just kind of neutral. I said it earlier today, Jay, take away the fact that Nebraska's tied to this at all. And you just look at it from if you're a college football casual fan, it is a fascinating case study. Like it's a fascinating thing to watch of this guy has a quick turnaround. Like you said, quick ascension.
Oh yeah.
Power 5 job at alma mater. Once again, you can keep it nameless. If you're just a casual college football fan, gets a job at his alma mater, has all this expectation that he's going to bring them back to national prominence, fails, is out of the game for a couple of years, does not take any accountability, and then goes back to where he had success. Just the opportunity to go back to a place that you willingly left doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
Just from a general college football story standpoint and vision, it's incredible cinema.
Yeah, and plus it was the new AD too. Obviously, his AD is at Tennessee, and the AD's brother that they thought that was one of the jobs that he was linked to before is at Florida FAU.
That's right.
That's Danny White's brother is there. And then he ends up back where he's at. I mean, the stars have aligned for Scott consistently, and he's knocked it out of the park. Obviously, majority of the time. Obviously, it's tough, man. I mean, it's you keep mentioning Nebraska, finding a way to throw it underneath the bus. Maybe he's not articulating it well. Maybe he's thinking he should have just went with his first instinct and not take the job, and then dealt with not taking the job, and then maybe taking it later. It's a once in a life opportunity to come back. First of all, the coach at Nebraska is a once in a lifetime opportunity because it's a blue blood. It's a historic place. You have everything under the sun that you need to be successful. There is a lot of pressure. You're in a fishbowl, but that's just part of it. And so, right now, the best thing that he could do is have a good season. But how he handles success, and I remember when he got hired, people ask that. Look, this ain't about X's and O's with Scott. He can call plays.
Yeah.
Like it'd be dumb for me to say he don't know how to call plays. It'd be ignorant, right? He knows how to call plays. So that means he's coaching enough good players. I even give him credit. He knows how to coach. Now everything else is just under his control, and what he does with it. Is that
a Nebraska thing to where there's so much more than that you have to control and be mindful of when you're the head coach? This is more so than even just Scott. I mean, this is a anywhere at bigger jobs. There's much more than just football.
At bigger jobs.
This is not me blaming Nebraska. Be like, Nebraska's the problem here because you willingly took it.
Look, I like I said, I talk to Josh all the time, the AD at Illinois. He was very frank, and I think at bigger jobs, just in my opinion, from people that I know, and I talk to Kenyatta Wright sometimes. He's the GM for Oklahoma State. He's like in Jonas Jennings, and he does a advisory role. He said the biggest thing is like you actually have to do the opposite as a coach. You have to think about everybody else and worry about everybody else in yourself last. Because
that's hard for guys.
It is, because everything that's happening you get held accountable for.
Yeah.
But it's out of your control. But then also you got to make decisions on what you do after that. So I think just with him, you would look. I'd never wish any ill. Are me and Scott friends? No. Were we friends before that? No. If I'd see him, before I'd say what's up and say, now I doubt he'd even. I don't even know if he. I don't think he would probably talk to a lot of former teammates. I mean, he's got to select friends, and that's fine with him. And that's I got my select friends, and you wish him all the best. But I think the best thing for him, this is going to be and then we'll move on to this. This is going to be the indicator. When he has success, let's just assume within the first 3 years, how he acts and how he is after that. That's going to be it. That will tell you.
Does he leave?
I don't know if he leaves, but here's what I'm saying, because I think it's just like a lot of kids these days. It's, when we grew up or when I grew up, I learned a lot from getting my butt kicked or losing, or I hated to lose so much, so I was going to over prepare and all that. The kids these days generally tune in more after success, but with that success, the pressure is amplified, and so and how you handle it, right? And so that's where you'll see what he does, and go from there. He's relatively young in this coaching game.
Yeah.
In this coaching business. There's going to be a lot of eyes on him to see what he does. It is, when you got to think, you play Kansas, then you play Kansas State, then you play at Cincinnati. You go to you play home against West Virginia. You go to Baylor, which just is just a middle of nowhere. I mean, that's just a horrible place to go play.
Great stadium. Right on the river.
Yeah, but
there's nothing to do in Waco.
There. Then you play at home against Houston. You never know what they get. Then you go at Texas Tech, Oklahoma State at home, and then you go at the end of the season. You go all the way to Provo. So
I just wonder, how much does the AD affect success of a college football team? Because you brought up Danny White, and Danny White's quickly ascended in the world of ADs. I mean, he's notable at Tennessee.
No.
Like I had this conversation a couple of days ago of like, all right, can we name 10 sitting ADs? And it's like, we probably could, but like Danny White's one of them that we can name, because it was when Joe Castiglione announced that he was going to retire from Oklahoma. Castiglione is one of the legends, obviously, for multiple reasons. But we know about Joe Castiglione. We can't go down like Bobrovsky, or not Bobrovsky. I'm thinking of somebody at Purdue. Purdue. Like, we can't have this conversation about every AD. Danny White's notable because of things that he's done
in the UCF.
Yeah, and of UCF.
So they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And everybody benefited off it. So you wish him the best and hope he does well. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you do. I mean, why would you want to?
It's a waste of energy to hope somebody fails.
You hope he does well. Yeah. There's not going to no skin off your back. I mean, really, to be honest with you, the stuff that he talks about, that's just like his personal issue. Mm-hmm. I'm never going to say anybody's issue, but his issue with whatever happened at Nebraska. And look, there's not a coach out here besides Ed Orgeron, and that was because he was about to get $16 million.
Tell me what story you want me to walk out.
Is happy to get fired. Yeah. Nobody's happy to get fired. He's a competitive dude. I played with him. He's competitive. To make the jump in becoming a better player, in a lot of ways, some humility or whatever, getting coached harder from 96 to 97. I know he's competitive.
It'll be so interesting to see if there is success, like you mentioned, because I'm going back to everything you kind of talked about there, because we have a couple minutes left in the segment, of like how he will react and how he operates with success. Because I think success changes you at times. But then also on the other side of it is, does another power 4 job that's larger than UCF, do they take another chance on him? And that's like, and then on the other side of it, does Scott Frost leave? And these are all hypotheticals, but
I think he would take another job if he's at UCF another 5 years. It'd have to be, he's got a family and stuff. It'd have to be. I think the decision would be maybe a little bit more thought out. I think he would. I don't think
like it's easy to sit here and say, oh no, I'm so happy at UCF, and all that can be true. But if another big time brand comes calling,
I
How do you say
I
no?
think Nebraska job was uniquely different for him. And I'm not in this. I'm not from Nebraska.
Mhm.
And it'd be only comparable if I was like, Minnesota or something. But Minnesota never won championships.
Yeah.
And I didn't go. Or if I went to Nebraska and went back to Minnesota, and then I ended up being a coach and all that. It's a lot of pressure. You got family history here. Both of his parents were very successful here, very successful in the state of Nebraska, entrenched in Nebraska history. His start to his Nebraska career on and off the field was not good. In and out of the locker room on the field was not good. You ever transferred schools? When a new kid comes in, you just want to fit in.
Yeah.
Didn't work out too well. So I think all that type of stuff, and then it manifests and boils over years. And then anytime that, like you have press conferences or you want after games and stuff like that.
So, okay.
So people take their personal feelings and then judge him on how he's doing his professional thing.
Can I ask then, and if we can't answer this, that's fine. Why all the former players show up in the locker room or in the weight room?
Oh, I wasn't there.
And that, like, do you see where I'm coming from?
But look, man, I'll tell you like this. I remember having a conversation, I think, with
at some point you
Jason,
also put personal feelings aside.
Jason and Doak. I'll tell you, look, everybody was 21, 22 years old in college. All right. He's been successful. So you can't, you can't say that he's not a good coach. He's been successful. At that point, has any of us ever really talked to Scott? No, but we've watched him from afar and wanted him to win when they lost Ohio State in the championship and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, then you have a conversation, and then I remember saying, I was like, I'm hopeful, because here's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for that. At that point, everybody was young, and you're married, you got kids, and you kind of realize, like, okay, this is a bigger thing, and it's a great opportunity. So I'm putting forth the effort. So that's why you're always going to support the program.
Yeah, that's. I mean, you put personal feelings aside and say we're going to get behind one of our guys.
Yeah, and I think there's probably I don't think any of the personal feelings were more or less like how you were as a teammate. I don't think they were personal. Like, there's probably a couple guys that got some stuff they probably you'd like to get off the chest. I wasn't one of them, but you wish them the best.
There you go.
You wish them the best, Nick. But I'm gonna tell you what's not the best, though.
What's up?
Just you remind me of the NFLPA and the NFL colluding against players not getting paid. That's something actually you would do at Pius X.
This is what I'm talking about. Pius gets the bad reputation.
No, you do it.
Today.
Your representation of Pius. Is it Pius the X?
You know what it is.
It was Pius the 10th.
There you go.
Or Pius the 10th. So Pius X.
Yep. Go ahead.
You give them a bad rap because everybody has assumptions about Pius. And then you get on the air and act how you are and all this.
How do I act? This is good. We have a minute and a half left.
Nicholas. We know.
I feel like this is a one-way street.
We know ever since you went on your first journey outside of the confines of Nebraska.
My goodness.
You came back brand new. But,
speaking of, you better buckle up.
What?
Because do you know where I go in 3 weeks?
Where? Where now? Africa?
No,
that's not. You wouldn't do that. Costa Rica?
Canada. Golf trip.
Well, just come. Make sure you come. Do you know what a Canadian tuxedo is? Make sure you come back for a Canadian tuxedo.
Okay. Sounds good.
But, as we said before we go through, it's two big things happening in the NFL, right?
Yep.
Or there are headlines, right? Besides, everybody knows their days are counted. The NFL and the NFLPA colluded against guys getting money. Also, my man Elijah said he got offered a little bit of ownership in the Giants.
Is that right?
He said, "No, it's a little too rich for my blood." Hey. What do the young kids say? Cap? I call Cap.
Yeah. Guess what they brought up on the text line, Jay?
What?
Our little excursion to Colorado game. Do you remember the Residence Inn Hotel?
Oh, that's where it changed.
That's where it changed.
Exactly where
that's where it changed.
Thank you, text line, for reminding us when Nick became Nick Upgrade Sainer. With that being said, we're upgrading to a break. Jay Foreman, my man Nick Sainer, Old School. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Saturday. Eagle Raceway is open for a full season of dirt track racing action every Saturday night. Don't miss the epic battles on the high banks of Eagle Raceway each Saturday between the Nebraska Septic Sprint Cars, Nebraska Lottery Modifieds, Avid Realty Sport Mods, Valentino's Hobby Stocks, and A1 Iron Stock Cars. Let's go racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street. Check out the full schedule at eagleraceway.com.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
Hopefully you and I agree that you should do everything you can to save your marriage. Divorce is hard, expensive, and its outcome is usually not all you hope for. However, when doing everything has failed, when divorce remains as your last option, consider Cordell & Cordell as your first choice to help you through the divorce process to a better place on the other side. We've been a partner men can count on for more than 30 years. Let us be that partner for you.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men maximize their role in their children's lives. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Lincoln area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 402-858-3220. That's 402-858-3220. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Office in downtown Lincoln. 1221 N Street, Suite 801, Lincoln, Nebraska 68508.
Lights out? Let LES know where to go. Powerline matches your phone number to your service address so LES can respond to outages faster. Keep your information up to date at les.com/powerline.
At Koppel, during the holidays, we take time to cherish our terrific staff, community, and loyal customers that continue to drive that money-saving mile to Louisville, Nebraska. Hi, this is Sean Callahan. I can proudly say I bought my car at Koppel. If you are in the area, I invite you to stop by Koppel Chevrolet GMC's offices in Louisville or check them out online at koppelcars.com. On behalf of Koppel Chevrolet GMC, Merry Christmas and safe travels to all.
Load up on meat and more this spring at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Hey guys, you have heard about the Farrell's 10-week challenge for years on the ticket. If you still haven't joined us for this amazing challenge, what are you waiting for? You could be our next $1,000 winner like Derek, who just lost 30 pounds, 23 inches, and 8% body fat. Derek changed his life in the 10-week challenge, and so can you. Farrell's combines kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching to get you the results you have been waiting for. Join us July 12th for the Summer 10-Week Challenge. Go to fxblincoln.com to enroll today.
Ticket listeners know a dream team when they see one. At Applied Connective, we've been in the game for 20 years and have developed a team of world-class leaders in all things IT. From cybersecurity and Microsoft products to physical security, audio-video, infrastructure, business phone systems, and anything in between, we'll help you leverage technology to become your most secure, efficient, and profitable. Head to our website to check out real reviews and testimonials and sign up for a free tech consultation. We can show you where you might be vulnerable, inefficient, or overspending. It's a game changer, and it's totally free. Claim yours right now at appliedconnective.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and they're having the biggest hail sale they've ever had. A huge opportunity is at your front door right now. Some of these cars we're fixing, some we're not, and some it's totally up to you. New Sierra starting at $15,000 off list. New Canyons at $8,500 off list. New body styles on the Acadias, $3,000 off list. You need to hurry as there's going to be a lot of people heading to Louisville. Check us out at koppelcars.com. Stock numbers G121492. G187747 and G196599.
Attention all Wings fans. Buffalo Wings and Rings has daily specials that will make you want to stop in on all days of the week. Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays, enjoy 40% off boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy. And come back on Wednesdays for $1.39 chicken tenders all day long. Get to Wings and Rings today, 68th and O, or in Williamsburg Village.
Raising Cane's is the only fuel I need. Their chicken fingers always fill my tank. So when I'm running on fumes, I always refuel at Raising Cane's. But turns out, not everything's fueled by Cane's. Guess the old girl prefers her sauce unleaded. One love.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call
John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
and electrical.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more. 93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Well, we're back. Second segment. Jay Foreman on. I was about to say Austin Orman. Nick Sanders
Right.
sitting there for my main man, Austin Orman. I got a funny text from Austin.
From Austin?
He should. He's listening. Ton of respect. He said, I want to ask you this on air like Nick. But he says, does Scott Frost get an invite to the 97 reunion? He's going to get an invite. He probably ain't coming up. See all them dudes. How you doing, buddy?
He's been back recently.
Yeah. Onward or upward. But some interesting news out of the...
You should personally invite.
Anyway.
Shoot him a text.
Yeah, I will.
Hey, I got a place for you to stay if you need.
Yeah. Some cookies tonight and some ribs, some soul food.
Yeah.
Anyway, you like some barbecue? No, just playing.
Do you like hot spots? Do you like hot sauce?
Yeah. Anyways, it's some interesting news.
The bomb. You just give him the bomb wings. That's all you got to do.
No, you got to sprinkle. You ever see those spoofs where the like the wives or the girlfriends put it in like their
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just put a little special seasoning on there. It makes
was it Carolina Reaper or whatever?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It'd be
Anyway.
fast as he ran to the toilet. But anyways, interesting news at the highest level is that it was, I guess, rumor about 2 weeks ago, but now it's factual. That first it was kind of like floated out there. It was just the owners, like they just all were on a text chain and said, you know what, let's pause on paying these guys these bonuses. All right, we got to save some money. Us billionaires got to make sure we save some money. That's what it was floated out before. Now, through federal court or whatever it is in the findings, I think it was Pete Thamel that found it.
That's right.
Yeah, which obviously he got a good tip that the NFLPA was down with it. Right?
Yeah.
But, I mean, when you think about this, right, where you have a union and they okayed it. I mean, how does that call work, Nick? I'll be the NFL and I call you as the NFLPA. Hey, Nick, this is Robert Kraft. I just want to let you know, I just spoke to all 31 other billionaires and we've came up with this great idea. You ready for it, Nick? You ready for this idea? This is going to be really, really good. And trust me, we've thought about every single angle that it really will never come to light.
We're operating with your guys' things, or in the front of our mind.
Yes,
we're worried about you the most.
It's going to benefit us, but it's really going to benefit you.
Okay, I promise. If you just trust us.
All the players that that we've built up all this goodwill with over the years, forget all those class action lawsuits and all that stuff. But now we're going to get right. Here's what we pose to you, Nick. You listening? We've decided that it be in the best interest of the NFL that we've made billions of hundreds of billions, whatever it is.
Yeah,
billions of dollars for the last 20 some odd years.
Yeah.
Then we're going to make even more. We're not going to pay the players. They're just due on their signing bonuses. And guess what, Nick? Here's what we're going to do. The first guy we're going to start with is a 2-time NFL MVP, Lamar Jackson. What do you think about that? One of your star players. What do you think about that, Nick?
Any issues that the NFL has, and obviously you've been in it, they stem from the ownership, right?
Well, in this case, I mean, how do you even
yes, in this case, right? But like I'm saying, over the last decade,
oh yeah, it's the league thing.
It's an owner's issue, and then partially it's Roger Goodell.
He works for owners,
and then he works for the owners, and it's almost as if they feel like maybe they can control Roger Goodell.
Well, he's their employer.
To where,
employer.
Roger, go ahead. You re-sign this massive deal. We'll give you $54 million a year.
A private jet and
we'll
health insurance. The same thing we don't give any of our players. We'll make sure you get it.
That's what I'm saying.
Because all those hits that you got, we're going to make sure you take care of.
Remember during COVID when they had the NFL draft and he was down in his basement?
Yeah.
And he was doing the picks. And it was just like, man, what are we doing right now? Like, but anyway, I mean, yeah, it just feels like all the issues. And this is once again where you can go, sport to sport and be like, all right, Adam Silver, Rob Manfred, Roger Goodell. The ownership in the NFL feels like they're the ones with the biggest issues.
Yeah,
that cause the most issues.
Well, it seems to be the most purposeful and hurtful. Now it's the most physically demanding sport, and they do the least. Mm-hmm. They do great. They got benefits and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I can't complain. I mean, but obviously when you compare it to baseball, hockey, basketball, it's a whole different league.
And even just the structure of like the collective bargaining, and like even like those structures of that, to where, I mean, baseball is unique because all money is guaranteed.
Yeah.
They have, I mean, every single contract's guaranteed fully. You look at some of the best players in the NFL, and it's not guaranteed. I mean, none of it's guaranteed.
None of it's guaranteed, and they want to take something. Obviously, as we've seen, when you do outplay your present contract or you're up for a new contract, they've made a decision on both sides of the aisle, per se. If you want to get in it, so we're going to pay these. Let's just pay these guys less.
Like you and I talked about Myles Garrett on Monday, and it was like that's one where he's losing out on like $40 million that's not guaranteed.
Yeah,
and to go back to a bad franchise that is, they're not going to win a Super Bowl unless something dramatic happens in the next 4 or 5 years. And it's just like, but the players have to abide by it.
Well,
and I don't know when the next like collective bargaining conversation happens for the NFL.
Well, the problem I remember when they would have these like the union reps and all that stuff, and I always had issues with it whenever, if you ever go back and watch when during the Pro Bowl, they'd have the union reps out there. And then they would have the Pro Bowl, week after.
Who are the union reps?
It's just like guys that are.
Is it select players?
They have a voting process, but
Gotcha.
It's always generally the quarterbacks and the highest pay. It's a free vacation for their event.
Gotcha.
And I always said like this: I was a late 5th round pick. There's no way that a Drew Brees understands how I live every single day as an NFL player. And maybe probably doesn't want to. I mean, you remember like Drew Brees is the same player that tried to toe the company line and go out there in the media and tell Jimmy Graham he shouldn't try to get paid as a wide receiver and you're only a tight end.
That's right.
Even though 60-some% of his plays were at wide receiver. So you got to think like that. That's really where you run into trouble when you have the concussion lawsuit, you have the lack of insurance and stuff like that. And you have a lot of guys that have to get second, third opinions. You kind of run a little bit gamut. Now you got the place or the people that are supposed to take care of you haven't. And this isn't DeMar Smith. This is back like when Gene Upshaw was like, this is a long history. And I understand when you're doing it, you're kind of on the take because you're getting paid indirectly through the NFL. But I think it's when you look at, Tony Clark.
Yeah.
For MLB, baseball very well. Hey. When you think about him, he earning his money.
Yeah, well, yeah, and it's here's the one thing I will say about Tony Clark, is he actually travels around to minor league ballparks. I saw him last year. He travels around because he needs to know these things. He needs to know the current situations of not only guys at the top level, but also in the minors.
Right.
This is where, to transition to a college angle on it, this is the one pushback that I have on to the argument that college football needs this collective bargaining or they need salary cap. How on earth do you select a union? How on earth do you select players or somebody to represent all the you cannot.
You can't, because you're too far gone. You've already started the process.
Exactly.
You might as well just forget collective bargaining.
Yep.
And just try to get guys in contracts and how they would affect. It's not have some sort of like transfer fee.
Yeah.
And all that. You're not going to get a collective Bargaining. I mean,
The
King Coulter said that. Remember him from Northwestern?
Oh yeah.
Should listen to him. He's from Northwestern. You always listen to him.
Yeah, he was like Sam Keller 2.0.
Right. And then we didn't get a lot of traction.
No.
You can't collective bargain right now.
Because if I remember correctly, King Coulter wanted a union.
Yeah. And had researched a lot.
Yeah.
But it's too late now because you're along the process of not having one. It's almost like when you talk about fully guaranteed contracts with the NFL. The only way that players are going to get more guarantees or fully guaranteed contracts is if you play 20 games.
Yeah.
Because the owners are going to make so much money on 3 extra games, it's going to be worth it.
Where do you draw with NFL schedule? Because it's similar. I would equate it to college football playoff format. It just feels like we're at this temporary spot to where, all right, yeah, everybody likes more games, but everybody realizes, oh man, the more games we play, the more money we can make if you're an owner.
Yeah, I think you need to have. I think it's eventually going to get to 20. I wouldn't have minded playing 20 games.
Okay.
Without
preseason,
I would have liked that. No, granted, when we had 6 weeks of training camp, we had training camp.
Yeah,
I would have liked to have a little bit shorter training camp on site.
Okay,
break camp, play a preseason game or 2, and let's get after it.
I was going to say, do you need 3 or 4?
Not with 20 games.
Yeah.
Now, when you do 20 games, I like it if you do it like European soccer, where you do have a league-wide 10-day break.
Oh, interesting.
So you have a bye week,
a
10-day break, and it's going to be a long season, but you started earlier.
But that's what every professional organization is trying to do. They're trying to be on the minds of every fan and every casual for 12 months. Right. NBA's trying to. I said this about the NBA during the draft. If you're curious to what the NBA's goal is, it's just trying to stay relevant in terms of cross-country conversation for 12 months out of the year. The finals end in mid to late June. The draft is is late June. The NBA calendar for that current year isn't even done yet when all the trades are happening, because the NBA calendar doesn't start or reset until July. And then you already have Summer League going on.
And I thought it was like a replay from last year when Bronny had that dunk. I was like,
that's what makes like the NBA so confused. Like I was telling you and Strick earlier, like, man, I just don't understand like the aprons and like the financial structure. It's very confusing for NBA fans to follow along to. But then on top of it, of like trying to keep all the trades that are made on draft night, but they're not official yet, trying to keep all those straight, it's really hard to follow along to.
Yeah, because the Kevin Durant trade happened sometime before the draft.
It was like a week before the draft, but it wasn't official until a week after.
And then they added like 4 more teams. To make it a 17 trade. It's the biggest amount of teams or largest amount of teams in NBA history. I think it's just one of those things that the NFL, if you're going to get the 20 games, you get it. You're going to have to guarantee teams more money, more power to them. I think the problem with the CBA is it was very short-sighted. Look, the one thing you can say whatever you want about Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And at that time, I think he was the highest paid player. I know he just signed his $50 million. So he had nothing. He could have just thrown his hands up. He said it. And even Tom Brady said it. You shouldn't sign this. The highest paid player, actually, and this is where you can give him a ton of kudos as a teammate.
Yeah.
And how he thinks when we're kind of comparing to Scott is like, he was very thoughtful for other players that he's seen and are friends with that had to work their way up through the league and was telling you, this ain't a good deal. You're selling your soul and the players that help you make this money to essentially smoke weed. That's essentially what it is. The owner said, all right, go ahead, smoke weed.
Yeah.
Well, you can fight that anyways, depending on where you play. You play in Seattle and you get busted. You can say you can fight it.
Yeah.
But you're giving up more benefits both
That's
in
really
short and long term.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I remember on the topic of more games real quick before we get to break. I remember reading an article way back in like my freshman year of college. Ben Boulware, a linebacker for Clemson, was
remember
really, really outspoken about how more games is bad. We do not want to play more games because at that point, I mean, think about that. That was, what was that, 2019? So that was only 6 years ago now. Excuse me, 6 years ago. But you didn't have conference realignment. You're still 2 years out from that. At that time, the pandemic had not happened. At that time, revenue sharing from a school standpoint was not even a thought, or that it was going to be realistic.
NIL wasn't even.
NIL was. I can't remember if it was a thing, if it was barely scratching the surface. It's not even what we expected it to be now. We expected $50 GoPuff deals that they were going to do for downloading an app and posting on Twitter. Like, everybody's thoughts were so pure. And I remember Ben Boulware was like, look, we're students. Like, we got it. We can't be having 15 games in a college football season.
Yeah, you can.
Now you can.
Yeah.
And it's almost encouraged.
Yeah. I mean, I could tell you this right now. I'd rather play games than go to school.
Well, yeah. Especially if you're making $800,000.
If I'm getting paid. And then also these guys have the option to say, you know what, all right, I'm done playing in the regular season. Heck, the quarterback, Nico from Tennessee, he said, listen, my paycheck and my obligation was for the regular season. I need another bonus for the postseason, or I'm out of here.
Hey, Jay, guess what? We're going to be able to get to see Nico Iamaleava in 2 weeks.
I'm going to tell him exactly what you said about
2 weeks.
him, too.
What did I say about him?
I'm going to make it up. I'm going to say, this man here threw you under the bus and questioned your integrity.
Hey, you know what he's going to say? Him and everybody else in the country.
Yeah. He's like, but I'm still here.
I'll say, I'm still here, and I'm still rich.
Yeah. And I'm at the crib.
He's gonna go, Jay. Well, how much did you get paid in college?
Right, $0. I need some money. Matter of fact, man, hey, man, where are these lawyers at, man? We need to make sure these 95, 90, 94, 97. We need to get some of that get back.
Scott will come back for that.
All right, man, we're going to break. Jay Foreman, Nick saying old school.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Play ball! Pitch the perfect idea for a family outing or date night with tickets to the next Salt Dogs game. Nothing says summer fun like an action-packed evening at Haymarket Park. Come root for the home team with a hot dog and a cold drink. Plus, visit saltdogs.com to learn about special events and promotions, including group discounts. Don't miss out on the thrill and excitement of a Salt Dogs win. Visit saltdogs.com to reserve your tickets today.
Load up on meat and more this spring at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call
John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
Attention all Wings fans. Buffalo Wings and Rings has daily specials that will make you want to stop in on all days of the week. Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays, enjoy 40% off boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy. And come back on Wednesdays for $1.39 chicken tenders all day long. Get to Wings and Rings today, 68th and O, or in Williamsburg Village.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Cobble Chevrolet GMC, and they're having the biggest hail sale they've ever had. A huge opportunity is at your front door right now. Some of these cars we're fixing, some we're not, and some it's totally up to you. New Sierra starting at $15,000 off list. New Canyons at $8,500 off list. New body styles on the Acadias, $3,000 off list. You need to hurry as there's going to be a lot of people heading to Louisville. Check us out at cobblecars.com. Stock numbers G121492, G187747, and G196599.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
93.7 The Ticket is your home for every Kansas City Royals baseball game. Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez, Vinny Pasquantino, and the rest of the Royals attempt to make the postseason for the second season in a row. And you can hear all the action on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Your home for Kansas City Royals baseball. Back to old school with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up? We're back. Jay Foreman, old school, live in effect, 1040 O Street. Another hot day here in Lincoln. Quick 3 hours on the block with East Strick. Obviously, Nick sitting in for Austin. Got my main man, Harrison, who I do Inside the Huddle with on Sundays at 8 a.m. He's sitting in real quick before we turn it over to Bill Mitchner with Lighthouse, which is always great. And but there's a lot of stuff that's going on, Harrison, from obviously Scott Frost news that we probably, put to bed, and then obviously NFL news. The funniest thing that came out of the NFL, not funniest, but a little bit of interesting thing, is that I guess there must have been minority ownership option for Eli Manning.
Yeah, he's
and he said that's a little too rich for my blood, yeah. Which is hard to believe considering how much money he made, and I'm sure he got a discount.
Yeah,
I think they should probably. I mean, look, he's won 2 Super Bowls. He's a great champion and ambassador for the New York Giants. Obviously, they're struggling right now. And you got Tom Brady, who has some ownership in, obviously, the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm sure if Peyton wanted to get in with the Broncos and the Walmart people,
it'd be a lot nicer. I always say this, there's a lot of NBA, NFL, go whichever direction you want. There's a lot of owners that I'm not super fond of in terms of, I think they're just good collecting the paycheck. It's nice when you get good owners. If you get a Manning, obviously Brady, you get people that actually care about, they're pushing to win. Because even looking at the Bulls, I'd love for somebody who's got a connection with the Bulls. If Michael Jordan wanted to actually buy that team, can't say that with Charlotte, but get some ownership that actually cares.
Yeah, I mean, but Jordan it was a little rough when he first started.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think the expectation was a little high, and it was probably more or less just because of, missed on some draft guys, and then obviously he was able to sell it, make billions. He could probably turn around and parlay that into some sort of ownership with the Bulls. I mean, if you're talking about Chicago, and
third biggest city, and it's just been dead
since he left, pretty much.
Yeah, since Jordan left.
I mean, you had the Derrick Rose run.
Yeah, but there's such a short, injury.
Right, but it was at to you talking about Jordan, and bringing players there through free agency in Chicago, and in Chicago as a city, backing the Bulls as a sports organization. It seemed like a no-brainer. I don't know what the stipulations are. Can you go from one team to the other? But I was listening to something when they were talking about potential people starting to own or invest in the college football programs, and they're talking about these billionaires owning teams, and they said it's a better investment with billions of dollars in the S&P 500 because you make so much money. It's rinse and repeat
with college football.
With the major league organizations.
Oh, okay.
And it's like the NFL. It's like you notice whenever a new stadium's built, that's where the Super Bowl goes.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
worked out for Tom Brady, great.
Right, and then
with the Buccaneers.
But I'm saying for the owners, like when they had a Super Bowl in Minnesota, it was bone chilling up there, right?
Mhm.
But it helps pay for the stadium. They do a lot of revenue sharing. If you remember during COVID, the biggest reason why they were mad at Colin Kaepernick because they got $5 million left and less than they normally would. So they got $250 million. They were mad because they didn't get $255. So it cost them money. You got to think you're mad over $5 million. You just got $250. You understand? You get what I'm saying? So that it's interesting. Also, it's interesting as players as they start to make more money. They have opportunities. You know, LeBron said he's wanted to be an owner or part owner,
and he's actually got the money. I mean,
he's got the money. Shaq could. I mean, he definitely could. Magic Johnson is in everything. He's with the Commanders, the Dodgers.
He's got Dodgers, sure.
Yeah, because and then he helped, I think, broker the new or more ownership with the new owner for the Lakers. So he got his hands in everything, all by Starbucks. So more power.
Explain to me the Jaguars. Then is that why are the Jaguars playing overseas all the time? Is that you think some like agreement with those guys? I mean, it's the Jaguars and overseas is not
too much.
Yeah.
Hey, you ever been to Jacksonville?
Nah.
I'll tell you everything. It's a dump.
So I'm not missing out.
It's a dump. I don't want to offend anybody from Jacksonville. It's a dump, and they're just kind of. It's just not an appealing NFL city. So they're like, hey, you guys are garbage, and you got a new owner, so they're kind of taking advantage of them. Soccer background. Jaguars are gonna be the first European team. Yeah.
It works out. There's your expansion for you.
Yeah, there you go. Because they're going to start only playing the Georgia-Florida game in that NFL stadium. Anyways, Jay Foreman, Old School. Appreciate everybody stepping in. We'll holler at you tomorrow. We'll be live down at PBA. Turn it over to Lighthouse. We'll holler at you tomorrow.
Load up on meat and more this spring at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Half